Hello and welcome to another episode of the Everything's Been Done podcast, Conversations in Cycling Subculture. I'm your host, Dustin Klein. And today's episode is brought to you by the EBD Gear Shop. Yes, the Everything's Been Done Gear Shop. From the nose down to the toes, the EBD Gear Shop has got you covered. Today we've got a very special guest. He is a prolific content creator, a dedicated cyclist, and a well-known YouTube personality. You can find him on YouTube at Francis Cade. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Francis Cade. Welcome, Francis.
How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. I had to take my vest off really fast there.
Oh, you look very smart. You look very smart now.
Thank you.
How are things?
Oh, things are well, yeah. I mean, obviously crazy times right now, but I think it's all kind of, I don't know, it's all over the place. Fuck if I know.
It is. I guess it's different in different locations as well. Things are slowly, quite quickly, which may be worrying, returning to normal in the UK.
No way.
But yeah. I mean, there's lots of people out and about now. Shops are opening, pubs are opening, but you have to be outside.
What about masks?
Takeaway stuff. Quite a few people wearing masks. We have to wear masks on public transport starting in a few days. Like, they're not doing it immediately. We always have a little period of let people get ready. And then I guess people need to go and buy masks. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what to think of it, really. But as a cyclist, we spend a lot of time only seeing one or two people and riding around. So I think we're in a lucky position.
Yeah.
How are things over there, Portland?
Things are good. Lots of masks. Everyone's pretty... It's a mix, though. You know, there's people that won't wear them, and I think that's kind of like a statement. And then there's people that will wear them, and then all the protests and stuff, too. It's just like so much... I feel like the protest stuff is kind of like everyone's sort of forgotten a little bit about the corona thing. And then like they're lightening up a little bit. But now there's like, they're like second spikes. It's like... Yeah. I mean, but of course, because the protests are about a topic that has been going on for many, many, many years. And coronavirus has only been around for a tiny amount of time in comparison. So, of course, the protests are going to matter. Yeah. And the protest that's an interesting one. I mean, it is a bigger thing. But I guess I never thought of it because almost like a meta perspective. The coronavirus kills everything. Like, it doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess then you get into like age and da. But yeah, and I think it's the protests are like, I'm so stoked that they're happening. It's perfect. Like, it's this perfect storm of like kind of hitting society over the head with like, yo, fucking wake up. Like, look at what's happening. And it's working too, which is really is cool. It's like so exciting.
Yeah. No, it's good that it's happening. I guess, people moaning about the protests happening now, they need to see it through the mindset of it's a shame that people have to protest in this strange time, during the coronavirus period, rather than look at these people protesting while we shouldn't be out or whatever. It's just a change in mindset, I think, that needs to be had, and sympathy needs to be involved rather than condemning people. But yeah, like we just said, it's because it is such a big deal, and that's why it's happening, and people need to realize that. So, hope we can stay as safe as possible. If you are protesting, wear your masks.
Yeah. And actually, in Portland, like, it actually is rather conducive because it's like an identity concealing and it's like safe. So I think like it's like really uncommon to see someone without a mask at the protest. So
yeah, of course.
Has there been a lot of protests in London also?
Yeah, absolutely. And people are wearing masks as well. Because obviously the protesters don't want to give themselves a bad name. So, we seem to be following all the rules and everything. Otherwise, things become difficult, don't they? So, but yeah, there's definitely been a trickle down of what you guys have seen in the US happening here. We have the same issues. Same issues.
Of course.
Right. Perhaps not quite as extreme, in the last few months. But of course, like over the last few years, we've had things like that go on. So it's just great that it's being talked about by everybody.
Yeah.
which has never happened before.
Right.
There's always been a thing that comes up in the news, right? And then it's even in the most serious cases, there's been talked about for a week or so, and then it kind of goes away again, and then things just kind of go back to the same.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas this time it's like, boom, snowballed out of control, and well, not out of control, snowballed, and everybody, even my parents having conversations with me about the topic, which never normally happen, and it's great.
Oh, wow. Have you guys ever talked about stuff like that before?
Not really. I guess there's never been an instigator, but not for, we just never have.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've never talked about that stuff with my parents either. And part of that is like our white privilege where it's not in our face and so on and so forth. Like,
perfect example.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you live in London proper, or do you live just outside of London?
I'm zone 6. So there's little like zones. So imagine like circles.
That's like messenger talk.
The furthest out one. So it takes me an hour to cycle into the central of London. Oh, wow. But it only takes me 16 minutes on the train.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's a cool place to live if you're riding a lot. I'm also nearby like a whacking great Royal Park, which is like 8 miles round for cycling in, which is cool. I'm in London. I'm close enough to London that I can get there quite quickly and utilize it. But yeah, I'm not in the places where like the protests have been happening at all.
Right.
So if I walk outside here, it's like super chill.
Totally.
There's not much going on. Yeah.
Is part of the reason you live there for access to riding?
No, we just kind of grew up. I grew up around here.
Oh, no way.
Stayed. Yeah. It's quite just a nice area. In fact, I grew up like when I was really little, even closer to London. But London's got like bigger, right? So I guess my parents thought, hey, we don't want to be we want it to be too busy and like too much pollution and all of that crap. So they moved when I was like 10, even further out, and then I'm still in the same town as them. So, yeah.
Do your parents like live close to you?
Well, they live really close. We live next door.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have a pretty good deal on rent from them because they own the building as well.
Oh, that's great.
So we're pretty crammed in here. Like, we could do with a bit more space now. We're so into our bikes. Like, I live with my girlfriend Daisy, and we now have like 3 bikes each. Maybe I have 4, and they seem to be multiplying.
Yes.
So I think the struggle. We'll have to move soon.
For the bikes.
Yeah, because of the bikes. Literally, we need like a bicycle room. But with bikes in the living room shouldn't be a thing, should it? I don't know.
I mean, hey, you got to work with what you got. So I'm not opposed to what you can put them on the ceiling. If you got to put them in the video room, that's fine too. Like, there's ways to work around this. We have creative solutions.
Yeah. The video room. We have video rooms. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so space is such a thing. Of course, London, San Francisco, New York. These are places where I grew up in a place that had a ton of space. So I didn't like too much space. So I didn't understand the value of it. And then I moved to San Francisco and everything's small and expensive. And it's like, whoa, space is so valuable. Like, it's just like this interesting like paradigm shift. And then after living in that, like we moved to Portland, which is where we're at now. And one of the main things was to come here to have more space, to just do more projects. When you make things, you need space. And it's like, you don't really appreciate it until you don't have it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Tangent.
Because you move to the space and then you fill it with more stuff, right? So
100%.
You can never go back, which is a bad human.
Yeah, I wonder. No, you can do it. It depends on what the motivation is. Like if you're like, this other thing is like driving it, We did that actually to move here. We had like a bigger place we rented, and we knew we wanted to move up to Portland and like buy a place. So we had to go really small and then save up. So we had like, it's like a big breath. You like blow out and get this tiny little spot it was a little cabin behind a house, and like get rid of all this stuff and then get like our own place with like more space. And then, like you said, if you have the space, you fill it up. It's kind of like a flat surface. Any flat surface, you have to battle to keep it clean.
Yeah, totally.
Is it an interesting analogy too to like, there's a phrase that says nature abhors a void. So like, like if a patch of dirt will not stay a patch of dirt unless it's like contaminated. It will just grow into like craziness. So it's almost like, humans do the same thing with
essentially nature, aren't we? So we just spread our stuff everywhere.
With all of our unnatural things.
Yeah. Yeah, true. We're spreading a strange thing the world has never seen, like plastic and cameras and tires.
Tires. Oh, I love tires.
I've got to. Like, the thing is, I consider myself quite not like a minimalist. That's you just think of a person with no possessions whatsoever. I try and keep my possessions to a minimum. But I've chosen two hobbies, which are like three things: filmmaking, bikes, and guitars. And it's just stuff, much stuff, like cables and electricals and turbo trainers and camera gear, tripods, just all of that crap. And it's not all getting used immediately, but there's always going to come a day where it's really convenient to have it lying around. So I have a studio now, which is pretty crazy, but that's filled up with stuff now, which has relieved a bit of the strain. But it's just crazy how many things you need just to function doing those things.
Yeah, those are like gear things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like, who wants to have just one guitar or just one bike or one camera? Because that one does this other one that's slightly different. Or like, and then you're like,
As long as they're being used for good, then it's fine, right? I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a total N+1 with anything I'm into. It's just how I am. Yeah. So I have no shame about it, and I don't look down on anybody at all for, I guess it's collecting, but you're using it. That's an interesting one. Is collecting the same if you like use and abuse the thing?
Yeah, just, like, I mean, I tend to use and abuse stuff, and then I will try and pass it on. Like my used cameras and everything, like I try and sell them. But then there's definitely part of me that wants to keep them as memories and have like a shelf of just cool old stuff. The same with bikes, but I've learned to just let go at the moment. And I mean, what's a good example? My racing bike from last year. Like we're both very lucky to be sponsored by the same bike brand, right?
Yep.
And they want to go off their new stuff, so they've given me
totally.
They gave me a bike last year, and then they gave me another bike this year.
Right, that one.
The blue one, yeah. And it used to have a nice red one.
Oh yeah, that's simple. Right. Oh, the Cento 10.
Cento 10, right? And that's an awesome bike, and I want to keep it forever. It's my first ever sponsored bike that I get to keep, and it's awesome. But that is way better off going to someone else who's going to use it, because it's a really good bit of kit. And in the end, it's gone to a really good home, and it's going to get raced. So it's better just letting things go. Like you can't get attached to these things, right? It's just whatever. The cool videos that we're making that don't take up any actual physical space, those are the things that we need to look back on, I think.
Yeah, right. And that is like a funny thing about sponsored stuff. It's like a really interesting way to start interacting with things, because it's like people, this is always a funny one. People are like, oh, free food tastes the best. And you're like, yeah. And then you think about it and you're like, actually, things that you work hard for taste the best. Like free shit is like easy come, easy go. Like if that free sponsored bike comes in your life, you're fucking stoked. That first day, awesome, riding high. But if you like if it got stolen like a month later, you'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So come steal our bikes, everybody, because we won't give a shit.
I don't know what this says about the situation, but I'm definitely less excited about bike gear than I was back when I was buying stuff.
Yeah, because it's like the ceiling, like you want what you can't have. Like once you start getting everything, then you're like, you kind of
appreciate it. It's just a different type of appreciation, a different level of appreciation. Whereas if you save up, £5,000 or something, which is a lot of money for like a race bike, and you've just been stoked and excited about it for a long time, it's a different thing. Buying it is a different thing. And you look after it differently.
Yeah, and you spend a lot of time thinking about it because you're like, okay, this is like a lot of time and energy to get the amount of points needed to purchase the thing. So you want to make sure you do the right decision and get the right thing. And then if you go down the route of like the frame, and then you're like components and wheels and like every little thing. Actually, you consider that a custom bike? No, that's probably called a custom bike build.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of thing. You made it yourself, and the more time you spend thinking about it and nurturing the idea, the more emotionally attached you get to it. Whereas if someone goes, "Hey, this is the bike you're going to have in a month's time," it's different, isn't it? You have less time, you have less brain time dedicated to the process of getting it.
Yeah, and then the personalizing is like a thing. Like the Cento is like, that thing's fucking awesome, but it's also like, you get a bike of like much less value, but you were like, okay, these wheels and this gear ratio and like, or cassette or whatever, like you're kind of just way more attached to it because of I guess it's like the personalization, or I don't know, like.
Yeah, and what you've done on it.
Yeah.
I used to ride, certainly the first year. I'm using this one a lot more now because we've had better weather and I'm traveling less. But when I was doing loads of bike packing, I was taking my cheaper, the Jena, the gravel bike, right?
Yes. Everywhere.
And then it got smashed up and I rode it across Vietnam and smashed it up. And I've got it carbon repaired, and now it's got like two gnarly bits of carbon weave where it's being repaired. I've got to go pick it up tomorrow. And that's cool. Now it's really my bike. Now I want to keep it. Like now I don't want to. That's cool.
Yeah. Like badges of honor.
Yeah, totally.
That's sick. Did that bike break in transit, or was it actually from riding it?
That one was so I rode it all the way through Vietnam.
Wait, what was that? What was that trip? Explain that trip.
So that was we rode from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh with two very good friends. We bike packed the whole thing, or toured the whole thing, because that's actually the same thing, isn't it?
That's a great question.
Yeah, we cycled our bikes from one place to another. And we actually got a bus because one of us got sick halfway through. So who cares? We got there and it was cool. Rode it through a jungle, got lost in a jungle, which was wicked. We had a great time. And then that bike I then took on another flight, like on holiday this time. I was with Daisy and my parents.
Oh, yeah.
And then it got absolutely run over by, it must have been run over by a forklift on the runway or something. It was trashed, and so was her bike. Luckily, managed to claim on the airline's insurance and stuff, but it's in the process of being repaired. All the parts were wrecked, but it's going to be brought back from the dead. So it's all right. Happy days in the end.
And it makes a good story.
Yeah, I think it's cool. That bike's been through some shit. So
how? I know that you documented that trip through Vietnam. So if anybody wants to watch it, it's on Francis's channel on YouTube. Technically, how the fuck do you charge your batteries and how do you edit? When I've done bike trips, I'll film the whole trip and then do all the editing when I get home, because it's such it's such an energy drain to ride all day and then try and figure out where you're staying, eat food, and then edit a video? Like, no way.
Yeah. I mean, I think my edit time, I've just become super efficient at editing. Like when I first started YouTube, I did it at the time where like the daily vlog was still a thing.
Yeah.
It was like that thing to do. So that's what I really got into. And I was working a normal job and then finishing at like 4. And then I'd go and film a video and then I'd edit it and then I'd post it the next day. So it was like super, like I just, through that process, became really efficient at doing it. And I guess it's just repeating that and refining that. And you're basically editing it in the camera by recording only what and in your head. So like you'll kind of recognize what you filmed later on. And all you're doing is trimming it and stitching it together.
Okay, so I got lots of questions now. So like, I guess we'll talk about now opposed to then, just because I'm sure it's different and I'm sure it's the same too. But so like when you're going to film an episode, which you do almost daily, which is like, is it around like 4 a week, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's about 4. If you looked at the average.
Is it like an every other day kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, some days I get like 3 done in a row but then I tend to like conk out and then I'll have 2 days off. So it really is a mix. But then it's different on the bikepacking trips.
Yes, for sure.
So it's like every day is just the same. So I'm like, okay. And there's always something interesting to film.
Right.
And it's documenting. Then that becomes easier. Then you're just filming what you're doing in the day. And I think that's definitely an easier job than trying to come up with a video idea. So what you do in most of your videos is like, right, I have a topic here. I have a story to tell. And the timeline is not linear. There's going to be clips from different cameras. There's going to be clips from different things. There's talking head parts that interspersed with other. Like that's a different video. That takes longer.
But it's same. I feel like you have a lot of those things in your videos too, like multiple cameras. No or yes?
Yeah.
Wait, so say you're going to do a video tomorrow or this, coming up. Are you thinking in your head of like what the storyline is going to be or what the subject is? Or do you just kind of like, okay, it's Wednesday, just like film the day? Like, how do you approach filming?
I guess, some of them will be, it depends what the topic is. Oh, it's so hard to I'm deconstructing this in my head now as we speak, trying to figure out the best way to get it across. It's some of the videos will have a message that I really want to get across, and some of them will just be, I start filming and I go out to film my day, and then as time goes on, I realize what the topic will be, and then I'll divert my attention to getting that point across or getting that topic across, or making a point. So for the bikepacking ones, as I said, it's easy. Yes, I use different cameras, but they're the ones that I've been using for a long time. And after doing it 900 times, you get pretty quick at it. But yeah, for sure, the ones at home, I'll maybe use 2 cameras. I'll never fly the drone because we're in London. So it's GoPro and big camera. And I'll make a mental note every time I shoot with the cameras that I kind of refer to later as to where the order of things. And then I'll never leave it more than a day before editing. So everything is fresh in my mind. And that's a really important bit as well. If you leave it too long, you're in trouble. Because you forget what you've shot, right?
Yeah, but you can see it all. Because it's already shot.
So okay, the screen I'll like preview a clip, and from the first frame of the clip, I'll know what the whole thing is because I've literally just shot it like the day before or the same day. So I guess it's visual memory is really important, and yeah.
So I feel like maybe I don't understand this still. So some days you'll start just like. And if you just explain this, I did get distracted by pushing this one button. Fucking cat brain. So you'll start filming a day, and then like you said, sometimes you'll have a vision of a message, but sometimes you won't. And I guess So say you won't, and you start filming a thing, but then maybe like a message starts to get clear through the day, right? And then you'll be able to
like turns up, or like something like, I don't know, yesterday's a good example. Someone sent me a t-shirt about a new cycling initiative in the UK called Bike is Best, and I was like, okay, right. So I'd already filmed my intro saying, hey, I'm just got a meeting, I'm riding to wherever. So I'd already done the intro, and then the t-shirt and shit turned up, and I was like, oh, okay, so hang on, I'm gonna talk about this t-shirt thing because there's a cool initiative, and that led me on to, oh, there's loads of new cyclists around. I'm going to talk about Phil Guyman's video that he made about welcoming new cyclists, and then that became the message, and then I thought more about it. So often the ideas don't come to mind until I've already started the filming process of the vlog, because it's a vlog format, and that's the format I still stick to. I like that
and
format.
then so
really
then
raw.
For you, do you define vlog format as like self-documentary?
I guess when I say vlog, I mean like it's a day. It's my day.
Great, that's perfect. Those are like good parameters of what. Totally.
Yeah.
And then how do you make sure that it doesn't? Maybe you don't even think about this. How do you make sure that the story or the edit doesn't like get away from you? And then how do you like? Because I'm always concerned with like, okay, how do I fucking close this story? Instead of like drivel. It's nighttime now, and it's like none of my fucking shit makes any sense with itself. Or it's like a path that doesn't really like, it'll just blah, and you're like, how do I make this stop?
A lot of that can be fixed. A lot of that can be fixed in post. So if you forget stuff, I just slap like titles on there to fill in the gap, or sub myself in wearing the same t-shirt and hope no one notices.
Totally.
Like in a different time, like the next morning, like at 5 a.m., I'll like quickly make it look as if it's the same time. But really, like, I don't think you have to close many. I literally wear I have like 5 of the same black t-shirt. So I don't.
You get a lot of freedom with that.
Yeah, exactly. Same hat, nearly always the same hat. Sometimes my beard grows and it's different lengths on different days.
Right.
And then I've like shaved it and I've fucked up because now no one notices. Nobody notices.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if people really care either, though. You know, like, as long as the story makes sense, it's kind of funny if it's like, oh, shaved long face. Like, what?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. But in terms of finishing a story, like, I don't know. I like an abrupt ending. It makes people come back for the next day or the next video. So I just tend to like end things at really funny times. Like you just suddenly cut to a black screen of music and then that's the end.
Love it. Yeah, that is cool too. And it doesn't feel weird. It feels good. Like you say, you'd be like, oh, like what's next?
Yeah. You have to be like confident enough with it to be like, bang, video just ends. And you don't upset people. What you don't manage to utilize on if you do that though is, please subscribe and like and do all that crap, which is like a little call to action at the end, makes a big difference on YouTube. But which I kind of try and put it in, although I'm torn because you don't want to be a slave to that shitty algorithm and make videos that you don't want to make. So part of me is like, yeah, I'll say it if it's convenient. I'll remind people, but really that's not why I'm doing it. So
yeah. And actually this might help you with that. Like, I've done like a little bit of homework on this stuff, and it's like not every video needs to have all the call to actions, and not every video, and also stacking them all on one is just like confusing because you're like, go here, click this, buy this, do that, and you're like, I'm not next. So it doesn't have to be all the time, basically, and it's just as effective, theoretically.
A lot of content, it's just you don't need to do it all the time. Yeah.
Okay, how long does it take you to edit an episode? Like, I know it depends on the episode, but there's like a ballpark there.
Are we including importing the files, fucking around with cables and stuff, and all the different cameras and getting it onto that? Or is it like the moment you open Premiere Pro and start editing to pressing export? Or do you want both?
Okay, so there's that, and then there's that fucking bullshit at the end where you're like, oh, title, description, fucking A, why thumbnail?
Yeah, that's the longest bit sometimes.
Dude, tags.
So important.
It is the most important, and it's the very end where you're like, cool, I'm done. You're like, fuck, I gotta do all this shit real quick. It's so stupid.
And I've got to go and film another video if you're doing like the next day.
Dude, insanity. I don't even understand. It blows my mind. Okay, so just the editing then, I guess.
Okay, the editing. If it's one of those bikepacking trips, I can do it in an hour.
God damn it.
That is insane. If it's a vlog at home, which tend to be a little bit more like, because I'm being creative and I'm like filming, I don't know, because I'm around here, like doing different angles and doing different stuff, then probably 2 hours. It rarely goes over that.
That is insanely impressive. That's insane to me.
But but it's not like I have a magic power or anything. It literally is because I've done 900 and how many?
Oh,
tell you the exact number.
Yeah.
920 videos. So you do that, and then that's why it's fast, and everything's ready. Like all the titles are ready. All of the intro music is ready. I've got like folders on my desktop with all the music of different types.
Cool.
That I like put in a bank. Everything's in order. Like the color grade is one thing that I just slap on.
Oh, that's fucking, and it's a LUT. Is that right?
Yeah. So, it's my own. There you go.
It is yours.
Yeah, it's my LUT.
Oh, I should help promote that.
It's my own LUT, which is, for viewers who don't know what a LUT is, it's a filter. It's like an Instagram filter you put on your video, and it tells a pixel of one color to turn to another color. So it's within the image rather than a thing you slap on top, actually. So it looks really fresh and clear still.
Is it not in an adjustment layer? It's different than that?
Yeah. But even putting it on an adjustment layer, when you export it then puts its effects inside the image properly. So it's not like you're overlaying something really. Whereas an Instagram filter is kind of doing that. It's it's quite destructive to the. This is what I understand from it. I'm not a color grading guy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Which actually, like, if someone listening or watching has never seen Francis's videos, they're beautiful. They're like, the production quality and the image quality is very high. It's nothing that you're used to from watching my videos. If your eyes are getting tired of looking at 4 pixels blurring around, you should check out Francis's video.
The only person I'm doing all those like color grades and all that for really is me. No one cares.
No, dude, it's beautiful. I'm always like, fuck, man, this looks like a little mini movie.
But really, it's like a very. It should be the last thing you worry about, but it is the first thing people worry about.
Oh,
which camera should they use? It literally is the last thing you should worry about.
Yes.
Because the story is what's important, and that's what you nail with yours. So
yes. Well, I'm like slowly trying to back into like, okay, how do I so wait, 1080, tell me more. That's a joke.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm on 4K. Have you ever made a 4K video?
I think I tried it. I do an insane amount of experimenting with like frame rates and like image quality and da. And at one point I was like, okay, 4K, like what's the big deal? And it's kind of the same reason I have not liked raw photos in the past is there's these fucking giant files and they take way longer to edit. And I was like, even with a proxy, I know the whole thing. I hate it. It's just like, I've gone back to 1080. Just like, fuck it. Like quick files, like the machine can handle it. I don't have to wait for the proxies. Like,
and who's watching? Or like at least half of our viewers are probably watching it on a phone.
Yes.
So
yeah, if not
why
more.
do we need to do it? Like seriously, 4K? But this is bringing me back to the original point. You asked me how long my edits take. From start to finish inside the software. All of the stuff, there's a lot more time spent outside, like transferring files.
Yeah.
And if we were doing 4K,
Dude.
that would be 4 times more time, because like the laptop fills up pretty quickly anyway with 1080p files. And then you're like putting stuff on external hard drive, and I'm doing that, and that never happens like a good time. It always happens when I've come to edit in the morning, and then I'm like, oh fuck, my laptop's full. I need to edit, and it takes an hour transferring like a terabyte of stuff, doesn't it?
Totally.
It takes a long time. So there's all of that crap on the outside that you have to do and maintain, and like I think subconsciously I've managed to like get a good charging routine nailed. Just like when I plug stuff in and do things, I leave them at the right time. So I plug in my camera, import the files, and then it's already charging when that's happened and I've started editing, and that kind of keeps it topped up. But yeah, as soon as you add more cameras to that, like drones and stuff, that's when it's a pain in the ass. And
dude, yeah, more elements make it because you're like more batteries and like compatibility and cards and just like yeah. So what do you call your videos? Like, oh, I gotta make a vlog. You say you'll say vlog. What's that?
It's a vlog.
Interesting.
A vlog, yeah.
Huh. I'll call them edits because it's like it's an edit. But I've said this before and it still blows my mind. We make movies. Did you know that?
What's the definition of a movie?
Oh, I love doing this. Define movie.
Oh, we're in the future.
Movie means a story or event recorded by a camera as a set of moving images and shown in a theater or on television. A motion picture.
Did you get it? A story or event recorded by a camera as a set of moving images and shown in a theater or on a television or a fucking iPad or a phone or whatever. Get with the times, dictionary.
She said that? She said fucking? That's amazing. So we're movie makers.
Dude, I was like, cool, really? Because it's not film, it's not, make a film, make a video. It's not video. Like, although I don't know that definition. But anyways, I don't know. It kind of, maybe it's like confident boosting. Like, okay, cool. Not like, I mean, a video, that could be anything. You could just, a clip with a phone is like basically a movie then. Yeah.
Did you see recently, Martin Scorsese said that the Marvel movies were not cinema.
Ooh, what's cinema?
Well,
art?
That's a whole nother thing. He's like, this is a new genre of, this is not cinema, because it's just guys fighting each other. Essentially, there's not the same like pureness of emotion and story and whatever he considers. So it's quite a controversial thing. That's not our topic for now. I mean, you can go away and have a read of that. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Same sort of what is a film? What is a movie? Are these? That is what these are.
Yeah.
The production value, but from both of us, I think it's they're not like selfie videos anymore. It's not the same as like I don't know what we can compare it to. It's its own art form, isn't it? Without sounding.
No, I think that's a great way to perceive it. It is art because it's a creative. We're creating a whole story. We're creating the whole thing, and like movie making is a kind of a very complex medium because there's story, there's image, there's sound, there's editing. It's like super layered. Opposed to like a drawing or a painting it's like a straightforward set of rules and boundaries and expectations. And of course you can shake reality with those as well. But from a creator perspective, making movies, which even I feel like an imposter saying that, it is a very dynamic discipline. And I don't know. And it's just interesting because it's so layered. There's so much depth to it. Because you could.
Yeah. Until recently, it would be 10 different guys all doing one bit of this, right? And,
yes.
And YouTube has not forced, but it has encouraged people to do everything.
Yes.
Which is, there was clearly like a process. It began with guys just filming everything on one camera. The sound comes out of it. This is my morning. You know, a vlog really was like, I wake up, I have breakfast, I do this. It's a linear timeline. And then guys started changing that.
Cool.
And then things really started snowballing. And now we've got this crazy platform full of everything.
Yeah, it's cool to see how it's like evolved and just morphed into its own genre, I guess. I don't know what else I would call it. So how did you end up making videos? Like, what was this draw that kind of pulled you in this wacky direction?
I'd stumbled on a few creators who were doing stuff that I thought was cool. And I was like, right, I want to make videos. And that was it. I wanted to make videos. Didn't know what about.
When was this?
This was 4 years ago, I think.
16?
I need to go back and check. Yeah. Yeah, 2016 must have been. I literally need to scroll back through my YouTube and figure it out.
To see. No, I understand. Yeah.
I'm so bad at dates and stuff. But yeah, I knew I wanted to make videos about something. I didn't know what that topic was. And I kind of filmed vlogs of just going to the shops and stuff because I wasn't cycling at that point. And then did some travel-y vlog kind of stuff. And then started riding again. And those ones started doing well because they had bikes in. And I suppose finding a niche topic was quite important at that time. And then they immediately did better, and I identified that and then just carried on with it. But really the first 3 years of doing it, I was just documenting. I wasn't doing anything creative. I wasn't very good at talking to the camera. So I was nervous to speak I was not trying to get a point across. I was just documenting what was going on. And only in the last few months, I guess the last year, have I actually started being a bit more creative with it and using it for, the previous few years was just learning how to use the camera, learning all of that stuff. It takes a long time, learning how to edit quickly.
Yeah.
All of that crap. So now I've got on top of that. Now is the time to go, okay, well, I've got this platform now. What do I do with it? And I still don't know.
I mean, that sounds like a heavy question. Like, I would suggest, like, don't think about that. Like, that's like sounds like a blocking question, like a very pressure heavy question. Like, yeah. I think the thing that drew you to it is what I would say is almost what to kind of keep on that. Like, was it an avenue to create? Was that kind of a pull, or was it putting something out there for people to see? Maybe it was a mix of all of those.
I think it was the creative process, like actually making something, and I enjoy the process of doing it. It never feels like work, and I'm sure you experience the same thing
at times.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel like work very often, and I still enjoy it the same amount. But it's addictive. Oh,
what part of it is addictive?
Yeah. What part of it is addictive? I'm addicted to trying to make things better, like do things in a better way. I'm watching the progression. So I often go back and watch old videos because that's a really good way to measure that, right?
That's a great practice.
And I watch a lot of other. So I don't really watch TV unless me and Daisy sit down and we watch a movie together. I don't really watch TV, but I watch a lot of other YouTube content, and I know that those guys out there are making things with they've got access to the same equipment, they've got access to the same things, they've got the same drones. Like, how are they getting that shot? How are they doing that? So that's the bit that for me is really interesting. Like, I really love, how did he get that sunrise shot with a Mavic Air? I've got the same bit of equipment. I want to try and recreate that. And that's exciting to me, but I know it's not exciting to the viewers. Like if someone sees a drone shot and they just go, okay, cool, that's a drone shot. And they might even go in the comments and go, oh, that drone footage is so fucking cool. But really, they actually stick around for the storytelling and the interesting content of the video, not the like flashy shit. But the flashy shit is what kind of keeps me going. I like experimenting with all the cameras and things.
I think it's all necessary though, because if it's just like a person talking, like, you know, you gotta like tantalize the eyes and stuff too.
But there are guys who do that, no? There are guys with millions of, huge audience, and it's a talking head, and they have a entirely separate talent and expertise to do that.
Sure.
It's like the TV presenter guys we were talking about before we went live.
Right.
There's that it's a different skill set. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's, because ultimately it's what feels good to the creator. Like if you're not, so you're kind of, I don't know how to say that, like chasing yourself. You're like following your impulse to create. So it's, for both of us, just rambling about something, aside from the Everything's Been Done podcast, is not necessarily a thing that pulls to us. Like we like things that are visually dynamic and like fucking with the story and challenges too. Like it's not that just having a monologue isn't challenging, but there's like a certain level of challenge where you're like, oh, how am I going to pull this story back into like making sense or like going, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
Point made.
As a fun thing to do. And it gets more and more complicated as time goes on and you start introducing new methods of doing it, right? Because filming, it did reach a point where I was just filming morning to evening and documenting it. And people were still saying, oh, it's really cool. And there were new viewers coming, which is great. And it's exciting to them because they don't see it. They haven't seen it before, or but it got pretty stale to me. Like I'll be doing the same rides, the same things. So you're always just, there's that want within myself to like push and try new techniques or ways of filming or ways of getting, styles of video. And that's what's fun to me.
Yeah. And I get, what was that?
It's just fun.
Right. Yeah. Keep it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think about like Burnout. Because you're so prolific. To me, it seems like it's easier to burn out. So within the Corona thing, I started upping my content volume, and it's fun to do. I kind of get like a high from just like constantly producing things. You also, I noticed I also get kind of like tunnel vision-y, like this constant, like it's almost hectic life of just like this to that, to this, to that, to this, to that. I don't know. So I guess if you have something to say on that, and then also just burning out in general, which I guess that shit can lead to just like hitting a wall and being like, fuck.
Do you mean, the first point, do you mean you just get distracted by a lot of things or trying to do too many tasks at once?
I think it's more that, just juggling all these things. Because like, I was up to 3 pieces of content a week, which to me is basically like all of my time is that, because they're still doing the rides, editing, and all the bullshit in between all of those things, which but you're producing even more content than that and editing more like making more edited pieces. It just seems like, do you feel stressed out about time often, ever?
I guess I don't think about the ones, I only ever think about the next one. And then if there's a video like in a few days time, I've organized to ride with someone, I really won't think about it until the morning of doing it. I'll make sure before saying yes to something that I will have a bit of brain space for sure. But it's just like tunnel vision on the current task. I can't multitask anyway. I'm like so bad with it. I'm one of those people that if I pick up my phone like that and I'm on it and someone's talking at me, I don't even realize, which drives people nuts. Like I'm in one zone. Like if I'm editing something, it's drives people crazy. But yeah, I guess it's focused on one task at a time.
Yeah, and I would think that's probably why you're so fast too. Because you're just like fucking done. This one done.
I think I was talking about in my video yesterday. I've been experimenting with waking up earlier.
I saw that.
I've tried,
5 a.m.
Tried to 5 a.m. I've tried. So I slept in this morning, and then I passed out on the sofa as well today. I literally have a coffee here.
Oh yeah.
I just woke up speaking to you.
Oh my god.
So I was a bit slow at the start. That's why. But the 5 a.m. thing, like, oh my god, it's literally cut off half an hour of my edit time just by doing that.
Wow.
And I noticed it. I noticed I was efficient when I was away doing bikepacking trips, and that's probably why. Now it's like dawned on me, like, oh, it's because I'm editing in the morning, so I kind of pass out. Like I fiddle with some files and like put them on the laptop, and then pass out because I've done a day of riding. And then in the morning,
right.
I'm like awake, early, everything's calm, there's no distractions, and you just go.
And then do you upload right when you're done editing?
Yeah, or I'll schedule for the next day.
Oh, cool.
On like a bikepacking trip, because the Wi-Fi is so shit. So that's the thing, I like upload the video overnight sometimes. So there's always like a lag, a secret lag that no one knows about.
Yeah, which is
sometimes it ends up being like a few days behind. Like we had I did a ride across Australia, and there was a patch where we had no internet, not even phone signal, for like 4 or 5 days, which was really nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Oh no, it was so terrible. And it was really nice, but it also meant that I could like bank a load of videos, and then I could chill out for the last few days of the ride, and then just like put them out when, if I needed the extra sleep, I could put that in. I've gone on a massive tangent. What were we saying?
I don't know. I was enjoying the tangent.
Yeah, it was a good tangent. Burnout.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I think I've never really like fully burnt out, but I'm quite conscious because of my racing days. I used to do it. I do a lot of racing. I was full-time racing in the UK for 2 years, and you get quite good at knowing when you're tired, physically tired, not mentally tired. I don't really know much about that, but for sure, I'm like good at knowing when I need a day off, and that's what I apply to the video stuff as well. So today was an example. I'd done a couple of videos. They'd done okay. So this morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? I don't need to film today. I probably should have a rest. And then lo and behold, I did actually just pass out on the sofa. So I was tired. So it wasn't like a really well thought through decision, but it turned out it was the right one. And yeah, I probably get it just before I'm going to burn out every time. And yeah, in terms of longer scale burnout, long-term burnout, I don't know. I haven't reached a point like that.
Yeah, but long-term burnout, I think if you're not really burning out in the short term, I guess I wouldn't even worry about like the long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because all those little ones, then the little ones would contribute to a bigger one, right? So as long as you're keeping it in check.
Exactly. Okay. That's what I would think. Yeah.
I guess my like tolerance for riding and stuff is quite good. It's definitely like it's always like a mental, like, okay, I'm a bit tired and I don't want to edit, rather than, oh, I feel physically tired. Because I guess I ride a fair bit, but I'm riding nowhere near as much as I was a few years ago when I was racing and stuff. That was actually physically draining. Whereas now I kind of, it's just, we get to ride around the park and talk to a camera. It's nowhere near as bad.
Right. Well, wouldn't that depend on the type of like rides that you're signing up for? Like, hey, we're going to do this crazy, 2,000 kilometer thing or whatever, like, I don't know if I got that in me right now, or just like, okay, we're doing everything.
Yeah. I suppose like I try not to get, I am thinking during the day of filming, like, oh yeah, I've got to edit later, or I've got to go and film another one tomorrow, or maybe the next day. So I'm probably like I try to not get carried away in the chain gangs and stuff,
Right.
or doing the turns on the front or whatever is applicable to the ride. So yeah, I often try to like hold myself back, which can't always be done though. I appreciate that. Like it's some of the rides are big, and then you need more sleep afterwards, don't you? So it is tricky. It is tricky. It's a balancing act.
Yeah. Well, and then like you say, you used to ride a lot more than you do now, but now you do a whole other thing that makes it just as much exertion. It's just not only physical exertion. And you have a lot more to show for it now, in the sense of like, because you're fast, it's so ephemeral. Like, cool, I'm fast right now, and then like here today, gone tomorrow. But like a video is like, a video just lasts longer. It's not necessarily going to last forever, but it's there.
I think the video stuff is it's a cool, creative, and like wholesome job to be doing. I think it's fun.
Totally.
Which racing wasn't, I don't think. But
did you kind of burn out on racing?
Yeah, it was definitely it was a very draining thing to do, especially when you weren't like winning and you were just kind of working for guys in your team, and which is a fun thing in itself, but it wasn't quite what I wanted to be doing at that time, I suppose. But it is what it is. But yeah, have you done any racing before?
No, like it just doesn't. There's
not even gravel stuff.
I mean, like grindero, but it's like not really a race. Like Dirty Kansas, I'm always like, I don't fucking want to race. Like it doesn't. To me, that's like the perfect way to kill cycling, personally. Like it's just like why put competition on it? Like what the fuck? I have a phrase, simply put, rides over races. It's just more fun to ride. And that's my mental state. Like racing, it's like, oh, pressure, and I just don't have it. I'm sure it's strategy and fun and pushing yourself, but I go straight to just like.
I mean, I think it's really cool, and it does have its place. But I think there's too much focus on it for new riders coming into the sport.
Right.
Should it even be called a sport? New riders coming into cycling.
Sure. Cool.
I don't know if there's all like marketing, and all of it is just racing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like the pros are the people who we should look up to, and I don't know if it should be like that. I think people just should be encouraged to just go out and ride.
Yeah.
But I absolutely see and have experienced the fun side of racing, and you can see why it's appealing, because it's like, it's going fast. Fast is cool.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in cycling, so I grew up skateboarding, so I come from this like kind of anti-competition perspective of like creative expression, individuality, and it came into cycling through being a bike messenger, like all of this non-competitive, non-racing stuff.
Yeah.
But cycling as a whole, like how it's projected is through competition. I mean, that's basically all sports. That's how they're put out. Skating would be like a snowboarding. Those are video parts. So there's how to show these like individuals opposed to like the fastest or this team. So it's a
skating's a real one. Like I see that as a complete outsider. I've ridden. I can ride a skateboard. That's pretty much it. I'd love to do more. But from an outside perspective, the cool stuff that I see presented to me immediately there are like compilations of trick videos. Like guys doing grinds on rails and then filming it and having a good time.
Yes.
And like, why isn't that what is pushed to your face, pushed right in front of you when you search cycling, instead of Tour de France highlights videos, which is what is the first thing most of the time people stumble on, right?
I mean, this is an awesome question, because it kind of starts to break down into just the difference of the activities, because like skating is visually like it's aesthetically beautiful and it's like insane. Like what the fuck, a handrail, like how, and this, the skill level's really intense. Yeah. But cycling, like it's boring to watch. Like you want, oh cool, this dude's like riding a bike for 8 hours. Like I'm not gonna watch that.
Who sits through that? Does anyone watch the full length race?
Dude, maybe it's like on and then you're like doing something else.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, someone's attacked quickly. And you have to get back and wind it back because you missed it.
Yeah. That's awesome. But I honestly think that people like you and me help sort of like shift this, the perspective of what cycling can be. Because it's like, it's a way to produce content that's not race focused. We're very DIY. We're just using what we have and putting it out there on this very, maybe the word is unilateral platform, which is YouTube. And I don't know. I think those are really great things because it starts to show like, hey, cycling isn't just competition, which is intimidating. Like if you're like maybe slightly overweight and you're not white and you're a little older, you're like, cycling like is fun, but that shit is fucking intense. Like, you got to wear a fucking superhero outfit and do what? Like, I don't know.
How many people are put off immediately just because of that? Loads, right? Yeah.
I do it. I still am like, come on, we got to wear this shit.
I mean, it is like you get into it for a while and then you do it for longer and then you wear Lycra and you're like, oh, okay, that's why. Because it is like comfortable, right?
Yes, but it's very function for sure.
Yeah. The first time you see it though, it is quite alienating. But there's nothing wrong with just wearing normal fucking clothes and going for like all the kids who do wheelies.
Yeah.
How sick is that?
Yeah.
You have those important.
Yeah, it's like globally, totally.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
But that's
like the opposite, isn't it? It's just that's like that's the cycling equivalent of skateboarding now, isn't it? Like it was like BMX, and now these kids are doing. I mean, there's a bit of crossover for sure. Mm-hmm. Like the BMX guys and the fixed gear guys mixed with the wheelie kids now, and there's all like, and some of the wheelie kids are now doing like fixed gear crits in the UK, or they were before we had coronavirus and stuff.
Right.
So it's totally like a feeder. It's like new guys who would not usually be cycling, and then getting into different bits of the sport, different disciplines.
Yeah, I mean, the track bike, that first boom in the early 2000s was that. It's like, here's this thing. If you live in a city, here's like cycling is fucking cool. It's hard to do. It's like, but not impossible. And it was like a gateway drug. And like so many people, like you said, now are like full on like roadies, crit people, this and that. Like, yeah, that stuff like that is so important because it also brings some flavor. Like competitions, it's like kind of stale. Like bring some personality. Like I want to see the self-expression.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a little bit of why gravel is such a momentum is it's not so race focused and it's like a little bit fringe and you can kind of do it anywhere. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I was chatting today to someone about gravel and how, it's different in the UK because you guys have gravel.
What is gravel though? We call it adventure cycling because gravel is like a type of road.
Yeah. The thing, like over here, there isn't really any gravel tracks. It's all like single track mountain bike and hiking trails and stuff, which around London this is. I'm sure up north, like there is some great gravel, like actual gravel tracks. But it's nothing like what you guys have over there from what I've seen in video. And we'd all be better off on mountain bikes for sure.
Oh, that's
so much fun.
Interesting.
And I think, I feel like in London and the UK, like that will be the next, we're in just a transition period right now. And there's bikes coming out, like the Cannondale just released one with a lefty fork, didn't they? And they're starting to look like mountain bikes, and everyone will just end up being on mountain bikes in the next couple of years. Maybe longer than a couple, but it will happen.
It's like a funny right now that I love it though, because it's not really all figured out. It's sort of like, oh, does he need suspension? Is it bigger tires? Is it like, yeah, it's this funny, because I built up a hardtail gravel bike, 2-inch tires, like, It's really just depends on the terrain you have, though. You know, like
you got a suspension fork on the Yena.
No,
Did it
on the
ever
bomb
work?
track. I tried to put it on the Yena, but it
And they were the
hit
wrong-
yeah. So yeah,
Bad memories there. Sorry for bringing that up.
dude, that's just every time I fucking do something on a bike, it's that.
Yeah.
Oh, so like, would you like? Do you feel like you would want to ride a mountain bike, or would you want like a beefier version of a gravel bike?
I know, like, so I've ridden with a few like real quick mountain bikers, and they like who do the Cape Epic.
Oh yeah.
And they were just like, nah, full sus cross country bike, 100%, because these days they're so light, you don't have the penalty you used to have, which was they were really fucking heavy.
Wait, interesting.
And the rear shock is not so much a comfort thing; it's like it keeps your back wheel on the ground more, so then you can actually go quicker. So it's just like it's a faster machine most of the time, unless you're on compact, you
Or
know,
tarmac.
US style, dirty Kansas type of gravel. I think you're better off on I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert in off-road at all, and a really experienced rider may be quicker on a gravel bike. But who wants to go quick? I just want to have fun. I just want to, like, if I was on a cross-country bike, I'm sure I would be much faster down the descent than I am at the moment.
Descent.
So you can just point
Yes.
it and just go, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
The next thing for sure.
Yeah, like I have never had like a proper. That's actually the next thing I want to figure out too is like a full suspension cross country, like, and I want to take them on some of these rides that we do and get this like taster's challenge. Like, what's the difference between? And I know that it really boils down to just the terrain that you're gonna ride. If you're doing a ton of pavement and then some heavy stuff and then a little bit of gravel, like, kind of nothing's perfect. Because you're throwing all these crazy things on it.
This is the thing. Okay, the one real good thing about a gravel bike around here is that you can ride out off-road and then you can ride back quickly on the road without without being like this.
And just
yeah,
like
which is kind of
Velcro
stuck.
tire.
I'm riding a full sus. I know you could probably lock out. Can you lock out all suspension?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you do that and then ride home on the road, but it's still you're quite upright. I don't know. It'd just be a pain in the ass compared to a gravel bike, which just feels kind of like a road bike.
Yeah, I came from like that road bike position also. So now I'm like, okay, I want to try that full sus bike that we're talking about with like some wide drop bars. I just want to try it. Like, I know it's not cool or right or blah blah blah, but I just want to see what it's like.
A country mountain bike with drop bars on.
Wide.
That would be sick. Why not? Can it be? Can you mix like a GRX groove set with?
I'm saying. So that was one of my things with Villiers. I was like, yo, this needs to, because I know that video for me will do very well. It'll be like what an average video is for you.
Oh no.
But it's just interesting. And actually, if any other bike company out there wants to talk about this, just saying, I just want to fucking try this. Like, I don't even need to keep the thing.
Mate. You need to patent it before someone's going to steal your idea and start selling them.
Someone's got to try it first. It might suck.
So I actually know a guy who's done it, right? Because there's a guy who was in my cycling club, my first cycling club. He crashed mountain biking and broke his back.
Whoa.
And then he fucked it up more because he had to walk to a hospital. He had to walk all miles after the crash.
Oh my God.
And he wrecked his back. And it's still a mess. But to get riding again, he got a full size Cannondale, like a lefty mountain bike, and he put road levers on it, and it did work. But this was a few years ago, and he didn't ride it for that long because then he got well enough to ride just a high up normal road bike with no suspension. But so people have done it
for sure.
For sure, parts work, like hydraulic cable. It all goes in, and there is a way of doing it.
And electronic, there's less.
Easy, right?
hydraulic
make
is
it even easier. You just fucking plug it in and press yes on the keyboard and it works, right?
yes. Can we get everything on this program? I like this one yes button. Who's that?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here?
That's basically that's how it is. That's how it is. Shimano eTube.
EQ?
Yeah. Go.
What's that?
eTube. It's like the thing it's the software you plug in to your DI to. And then you can upgrade it and stuff. You can make it do different things.
Oh, I should try that on the Cento. That's like having a Tesla and you're like, yeah, you can like do an autopilot mode. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking funny.
You plug our bikes into a fucking computer. What?
It doesn't feel right. And also where my bikes are is kind of like dirty space. It's not like computer space.
Mm.
But I guess you just bring a laptops. I don't know.
Yeah. The bike room.
Do you, with traveling for you, is that something that you, like, do you love it? Like, do you miss it, traveling?
I thought I would, but I really, really enjoyed being at home for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And, like, the novelty of traveling and, like, this is so cool, wears off pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I love being in a place, but I don't like the airport and transit part of it. I just suck, especially shorter trips. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love going over to the Villiers factory and seeing those guys, but it's a super short flight, and I still have to like wait at the airport. You have to get there 2.5 hours before, whatever. It's the same process as if I was flying to like CU, isn't it? You're just not sat on the plane for long. No, CU, like in Portland.
To see, I got you. The United States of America, Portland. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You just get a little nap on the flight and then wake up. So it's the same like effort level to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
want to come back to the US. We finished our like big US bikepacking trip in Portland, but this is before I knew you.
I know. I heard about that.
So we could totally have hung out.
It would have been awesome.
It would have been cool.
Yeah. Well, you went north on the up. Was it up one?
We started from where? So we started in San Diego.
Okay.
And then we went to LA.
Yep.
And then we rode inland.
Oh.
Through the desert, through Death Valley, and then back. Through Yosemite Valley. Oh. So we saw Vegan Cyclist. Stayed with him for a day, and then came back to the coast, and then rode north all the way to Portland into a headwind.
Yeah, it's real. It's
the wrong way.
It's
that
awesome.
Bit of the journey sucked. That sucked so bad.
Yeah, going south is fucking sick because you're just like superhero like every day. Like this is fucking awesome.
And you're on the right side of the road to see the sea.
Yeah,
whereas
you're right.
On the wrong side, we were seeing like fucking nothing.
You're like, what? And the shoulder is fucked up until Oregon too.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man, yeah. But it was great. We're gonna revisit that area for another trip at some point. We're just figuring out how we can do it. Because it was epic. There were one of our ride buddies. So there was 3 of us that started that trip, and only 2 of us finished.
Oh shit!
Because he crashed. He crashed at like 2 miles an hour, fucking around with his camera, and broke his wrist.
No.
And his bike, and then we like single speeded it because it was all like his mech was fucked. But then he couldn't like grip the bars enough. It was just a nightmare. So he missed the last bit. So we have like unfinished business. So there will be a ride one day that finishes in Portland.
Yes.
And we can hang out.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. But it was amazing. The whole like, I love the US. That trip was the best thing that we've ever done, and we all agree. It was just sick.
Yeah, you guys covered like it's like the perfect version of like all the, from ocean to desert to forest to like I don't know what else there is.
And not even that much I mean, it's obviously it's a fucking long way, but it's the scenery changes so quick, right? So
yeah.
you literally we rode from so we were with Kim Nonstop. Do you know Kim?
Oh yeah.
Hanging out with her in Pasadena.
Okay.
And then
cool.
Then rode over Angeles Crest.
Yep.
Like the big climb out of there, which took ages. And then we descended, and then we were in the Mojave Desert in one ride.
Yeah.
It was
what the fuck?
Absolutely mind blowing. It was that's one of the best rides I've ever done, hands down. And then the Death Valley thing and all of that was just so cool. Like, I thoroughly recommend that if you've never done ridden through there. It's like an alien landscape.
Whoa.
On Mars.
I'm terrified of the desert. Riding your bike in the desert, like, I automatically think there's nowhere to get water.
The water was okay. The heat was a problem.
Oh yeah.
We did it in summer, which is stupid.
Yeah.
But in terms of water, there is if you waited by the side of the road and you were in trouble, someone would come past. It's maybe 2 hours can go by with no car, but then a car would usually come past. So we were never panicking that much. There was one point where we did think, shit, this is actually too hot.
Oh yeah.
Ride it.
Did you shift tonight?
Yeah, so we got up really early.
Oh yeah.
The days. Oh, well, we learned our lesson. One of the days, we didn't wake up early. It was at the start, and it was riding through a place called Kelso.
Okay. Yeah.
On the way to Baker, which is the place where they have the world's biggest thermometer.
Oh really?
And alien stuff. Yeah. Loads of alien Area 51 stuff in a town.
It's fucking stupid because it's nowhere near Area 51.
Yeah, it totally wasn't. And then we actually did go close to Area 51, I think. But yeah, people out there, they love aliens. They really do. But yeah, we learned our lesson that day, and then we started getting up at 3 a.m. to go riding.
Whoa.
Go out, and then you ride for an hour in the dark, and then you get an amazing sunrise every day, and that in itself was a special thing. So it forced us to do that. But I think if we did it at a cooler time of year, I would still try and get up at that super early, ride a little bit in the dark and then see the valley light up, and it's pretty special.
That's so awesome. Huh.
Yeah.
Do you work on your own bikes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't feel
I was a mechanic for a couple of back when I was racing, I did that as a job on the side.
Yeah.
But I haven't kept up to date with all the new tech and stuff. Shimano changed where they do all their adjustments and things, and sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming, doesn't it? But yeah, generally try to. Why do you ask?
I don't know.
Do a lot of tinkering.
Because I got this wheel set, and I'm trying to figure out how to get this free hub.
You just if you pass it through the screen.
Yeah, right. Here, let me email it to you real quick here. I don't know, just curious. I just think it's interesting. I feel like most people do work on their bikes, but it's just, I feel like it's not a positive or a negative. It's just a tell of a personality.
Yeah.
It's just oh, okay. I am firmly in the middle on that one. I understand both sides of it. But you were a mechanic, so it's almost it would be weird if you didn't, Yeah, but there's things that I won't try and tackle. I think it's time is the issue because I'm so busy, and then there'll be new things that I haven't done before, like hydraulic shifters. Oh yeah.
And it's all brake bleeding and stuff, and I don't have a brake bleeding kit, so I just go, oh fuck it. Instead of trying to learn how to do it, I just go, hey man, help.
Totally.
I've got a friend who's a mechanic. But everything else, all the general maintenance things, I have enough tools to do here.
Oh, sick.
But for sure, but I don't know. I think most people should at least learn the basics because it's expensive, right?
Yes.
I've worked in a few shops, and for a decent service, it's over £100 here.
Mm-hmm.
What's that, $130? And that's really expensive if you don't know what you're doing and you don't maintain things as they need maintaining, because you can avoid that inevitability of having to take it in, right?
Yeah, like a chain. We'll save you thousands.
Of like, yeah. You just need to know a bit, just like a bit, and then you're okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess there's the thing of like, if you're new to this thing, you're like, well, how would I know what? Like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, how do I know that I'm supposed to change my chain? Like, no one fucking tells you that.
No, absolutely.
But you can buy a chain tester. Nobody tells you that either.
No, yeah.
You bring it to the mechanic and they're like, oh, let me test that. And you're like, oh, you can test that? You don't have to come to the bike shop?
Doing that. Yeah. I found out recently, though, there's like a different one for different speeds of chain. So like,
really?
Depending on why do you put it in. Yeah, so now like 11-speed chains, the old style ones.
For real?
You should change it earlier if it goes through because of the tolerant, like, I don't know. So I just do it by like miles done on the chain now. Even
How
though
the
I
fuck do you keep track of that?
I just kind of guess.
How? How would you do? Because you're changing bikes too. Well, how many bikes you jump in between? 2
usually.
Oh.
Yeah. The fixed gear doesn't ever need changing. That you just keep riding.
Which one?
The fixie.
Oh, I didn't
like
know.
A fixed gear bike, you just carry on, right? Forever and ever until it's like rusty and falls apart.
No, I've broken a chain. I used to live in Seattle. Tons of hills in that city on a track bike.
Yeah.
And I was just, every time you ride the bike, you're going up and down some gnarly hill. And I remember climbing up this hill, heading home, and got to the very top of the hill, and it was just like, blink. And I was like, what the fuck?
No way.
And it just broke. I was like, oh my God. That's like the perfect point for that to break. Because oh my God, going down some fucking you would just die. Or, were
you running a brake?
No, I have never done that on a track bike. I'm too stubborn at this point.
Yeah. I've only I raced like a couple of German fixed gear crits and stuff. And then when I turned up there, they like just gave me my race bike and they were like, there you go. Oh, and we're riding to the race tomorrow. So it was like brakeless, race gear, everything. And oh, fuck's sake. But it was all right. But it's quite, now it's just for the convenience, like a little break on it. So it's easier, isn't it?
Yeah. Wait, so when did you start? Oh, I guess What's your first memory of cycling?
Ooh. I think I was being taught to ride a bike by my dad is my first memory of cycling, which probably is my first memory of cycling. Like it actually is.
Did he ride bikes when you were growing up?
Yeah. So he always had a cool. He had like a race bike which got stolen from outside our house. I remember that. And what sucks about it. So do you know you're into your music? Yeah, Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife at the time, Patty Clapton, gave him that bike.
Whoa.
So it was like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a random story.
Yeah. So we're not like family friends with Eric Clapton or anything, although that would be sick. But that bike was like super special, and he just left it outside the house one day and gone. Yeah, very cool race bike. But no, first memory, I remember him teaching me in like a big, fucking huge field, and I could pedal and go. So he'd have to set me off.
Yeah,
so he'd set me off, and I'd ride in a straight line, and then I just stop, and then I couldn't get going again. So he'd have to run all the way to catch up with me, and then put me over. Yeah.
Wait, was it a field, like a grass field, like not smooth?
Like a grass field.
So you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Probably why we like off road now, right?
That would be so much harder for like a little kid. You're like smooth pavement or grass field.
Yeah. It worked.
That's
but now
amazing.
kids, like kids these days, all learn on balance bikes, right?
Yeah, which is so
Way
awesome.
better.
Way better.
I'm guessing I had stabilizers on when we did that field that I can't remember. I was but yeah. Now it's totally changed the way kids learn to ride. Like they already know how to balance just from riding them. So the transition to a pedaled bike is just so easy. Yeah,
seamless. Yeah. Oh, and then when did you start riding a track bike? Was that around that early 2000s stuff?
I got a track bike when I came back, when I started cycling again after a little break from my racing. So it was just as I started doing videos, and I got one because it was cheaper than, I was like, cool, so the logic in my head was I want a cheap bike, and when I'm filming stuff with one hand off the bars, if I have a fixed gear, I'll be able to regulate my speed.
Yeah.
I'll be able to slow down with my feet.
Right.
Which kind of made sense at the time. In practice,
right,
you're actually better off just with a normal bike.
Yeah.
Without the fixed gear thing to think of as well. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, in my head, it made sense. But then it meant I got really fit really quickly because I was riding that fixed gear with like guys on the road.
Oh, shit.
And then, yeah, so we were just riding like local loops here. There's quite flat routes you can do. So it was actually okay. You can just ride. Yeah. But yeah. And then that bike, I destroyed that bike as well, which is a shame. That was on the roof of a car when we drove into a car park at a cycle circuit. Why in the car park of a cycle circuit do they have a fucking thing that stops? I know it's to stop like travelers coming in and parking their caravans all over the cycle circuit because it's like a park as well. So that's why they do it. But it's just, yeah, seems kind of ironic that there's a thing that decapitates a guillotine for your bike.
It just like, did it fuck up the car too? I can only imagine what that does.
I think it like left a little dent on the roof, but it definitely fucked up the bike's holding the rack.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like gone. And we could just say we heard the noise and the car just bumped a little bit, and then in the rear mirror you just see it like this thing.
Oh my god! You're like, well, I guess I need a new bike.
Yeah. So sad, but so funny. It was so funny. It was okay. It softened the blow.
Were you filming?
I was filming that day, but I didn't film the actual like incident.
But it got into the story though.
Oh yeah.
100%. Cool. So sort of worth it.
That's a perfect piece of clickbait.
Exactly.
I was like, he destroyed my bike, or like something like that.
I feel like I have seen that thumbnail. Maybe I've even seen that episode actually.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I still have it. I hang that bike, the frame. It was sitting outside for ages because I claimed on insurance, and they never came and got it. So it's been sat in a box, and I got it out recently. And there's a huge dent in the down tube, but as long as my insurance company don't watch this, it might be from all those years ago. I think it's salvageable.
Oh, that's cool.
I think I can genuinely build it up because it's alloy. It's just got a big dent in it. So I'm going to try and see if, like, as long as the dropouts are straight and I can get a wheel in and it spins, I think I can actually use it as like a shopper.
Yeah.
You know, get it rolling because it's sick. It's like that bike's got history. That's one like I'm attached to. Like, it's a cool thing. So.
Yeah. I bet it's fun. I've ridden a lot of dented track bikes. Like a dent, it's not like,
yeah, it's fine.
What the fuck's gonna happen?
I mean, it's a big dent. Don't get me wrong. I don't have it to hand to show you. It's like it's big.
Cool. Well, thanks for hanging out. This was awesome.
No worries, man. It was great to chat.
If anybody would like to find out more about Francis Cade's amazing videos that we can't stop talking about how amazing they are, I can't. But for real, you should check him out. He's on YouTube, Francis Cade. There's links below, whether you're listening or watching. And he's also on Instagram, and it's at Francis Cade. Is that right?
There's an E in the middle because someone took my name on Instagram. So it's Francis C. Cade.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
I
if
don't
you
know
know
if I can
Francis
get it.
Cade, let's get his handle back. No, I'm just kidding. Awesome. All right, player. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right. Peace.